Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SOM TV podcast. I'm your host, Jason Wise. On today's episode, we are taking you inside the recent Emmy Awards, what people are drinking, why those drinks end up there, and we are interviewing a dear friend of mine, the executive producer of a show called Dying for Sex, which was nominated for 9 Emmy Awards at the recent awards ceremony. Nikki is somebody who has just really done everything across the spectrum of entertainment. But this year, Franciacorta is the sponsor. So the wine region in Italy is the sponsor of the Emmys, the official sparkling wine of the Emmys. And I want to get her on without any preface to find out if she knew that, what it looked like there, and if she drank any of it and what she drank in the process. It's a real fun insider look at being nominated, winning awards or not winning awards, and what you drank while you're there. Before I talk to Nikki, I do want to say, right now on SOM TV, we have a whole bunch of new episodes. We've got a brand new recut version of the bottle from Into the Bottle, the 1969 Chave Hermitage, the single greatest wine I have ever drank in my entire life. If you've seen the second SOM film, you know that beautiful segment. We decided to recut it in an extended version so people could sort of see it in its full entirety. So that is streaming right now on SOM TV, and if you're not a SOM TV subscriber, you should be. You can get 50% off a membership right now by entering SOMTV50 at checkout. So go to SOMTV.com, download the apps, watch our content everywhere. Also, on our previous podcast, we mentioned that we're going to take this podcast on the road. The guests are going to be phenomenal. People like Steve Mathiasen, Joe DeBeer, the movie podcasts, the bullshit and wine, all the things that you listeners love are going to be on the road. So if you are a wine bar or a theater or a wine producer and you're looking to partner, sponsor, work with us, host us as an event, email hello@somtv.com. And let us know that you want to be part of our podcast on the road, because we are looking for locations where we can fill spaces and drink some wine with all of you. Without further ado, my conversation with Nikki Boyer, nominated for 9 Emmys at this awards ceremony, and what they drank at the awards. Nikki, it's an honor and honestly hilarious to have you on this podcast. You and I, in a different life, worked together quite a bit in entertainment at an unnamed broadcast network that
we're not going to say it. Okay, let's not give them a plug, right?
No, we're not going to give any free advertising. The reason you're on, though, is an Emmy nomination for your show, Dying for Sex, which starred Michelle Williams, and which was fantastic, by the way, based on the podcast that you shepherded and got produced. And I'm very proud of you, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering how this relates to wine and
well,
culinary
I was drunk
stuff
the entire time I did the project, so I think it's apropos.
There you go. Well, really quick, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Emmys.
Great.
We're going to talk about the drinking scene there.
Okay.
And I do want to talk about Franciacorta, which is a sparkling wine from Italy. It's kind of Italy's top of the top. It would be like their champagne. I'm sure they wouldn't like me to say that, but as far as a level of quality, it's the top sparkling wine in Italy. Many people would say, at least. And they were the sponsors of the Emmy. So we're going to get into all of that stuff.
Okay, great. I love this.
Before we do it, you are just coming off going to this award show, going to the Emmys, being nominated as an executive producer. Tell me really quickly about your show, what it was for anyone who missed it, where they can watch it. Let's just get that out of the way right at the top.
Oh, I love you for that. I'll make it quick. Okay, so it's a show called Dying for Sex about my best friend Molly, who was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and decided to leave her marriage because she wanted to go on a sexual adventure. So this started off as her telling me this in the car one day and me saying, I think this is a show and I think it's called Dying for Sex. And we were driving in the valley in LA. And from that moment on, we just kept working on it. It turned into a beautiful podcast that ended up at Wondery. It won an Emmy Award. It was beautiful. Most profound work I've ever done. And then luckily enough, because of Wondery's relationships and turning podcasts into TV, we started meeting with showrunners right before COVID. And we ended up teaming up with Liz Merriweather and Kim Rosenstock and FX and Hulu. And now we have a television show that was nominated for 9 Emmys, starring Michelle Williams playing my friend Molly and Jenny Slate playing me. So that's where we are. And it was an amazing Emmy Awards to be in the room representing Molly in the show that we created. It was one of the most proud moments of my life, and had a complete blast. And we lost 9 times. Just wanted to point that out. We lost. We were 9-time losers.
Well, that's not, I mean, just an honor to be nominated, right? I mean,
you know what? That sounds so cheesy when I hear people say it, but let me tell you, to get through and to get a beautiful show that's really, really an uncomfortable show. And it's not about like humor, and it's not, the ending is quite devastating, but it's about life, and it's about love, and it's about death, and it's about sex. And that's not really always an easy topic for people. So the fact that so many people watched it and it got nominated restores my faith in humanity, right?
For anybody listening to this, you must love podcasts. The podcast itself is,
Oh,
I say this with the biggest compliment I can. It is devastating. It is
mm,
like a really, really wonderful journey, and it is very good. And I'm not surprised. I think when I first listened to it, don't worry, listeners, I will get to the wine stuff. When I first listened to it, I was kind of like immediately. I mean, first,
really?
I listened to it because I knew you. And so I was
Right,
like, I got to
right.
listen to this podcast. And then I found by like the second episode, I'm like, holy shit, this is really, really, really good and really interesting. And it's definitely going to be a show. I mean, it was like immediate. You can like
Really? You
tell
felt that? Oh,
somebody's,
I love that
oh,
you knew that. I
I,
didn't know
I
that.
think I think my wife texted you that like this is going to make a show or something. But I'm glad it landed with what it did, and I'm sorry
Yeah.
that you didn't win any Emmys. I think now you need to turn into a movie and get yourself nominated for an Oscar.
Okay, I'll work on that.
What are we doing here? I mean, well, so I want for the people listening. I want people to understand that when these award shows that you watch, whether it's the Emmys, the Golden Globes, Oscars after parties like the Vanity Fair party, any of these things,
Yeah.
there are always an alcohol sponsor. I mean, none of the drinks that you find at these places, there's no free rides.
Right.
It's basically there's an opportunity to have a celebrity holding your alcohol, your wine region, your tequila, your any of this stuff. So they will do anything they can to have, I don't know who's a hot new celebrity right now. Morgan
Oh.
Freeman. To have Morgan Freeman.
Yep. He's a young, hip newcomer, hasn't, just
Right.
getting on the
Yeah.
scene. Like I can't think of anybody's names, but all the ones from adolescence, right? The young, well, they're none of them are really young. Nobody's young anymore. We're all just old and crotchety. But yes, I feel like when you sponsor something, I can't even imagine the amount of money that is dumped into that. And I went to the BAFTA tea. I went to the Vanity Fair. I went to the Governor's Ball. I presented at the Creative Arts Emmys. So I was bouncing around, and at every single location, there was a different vibe, a red carpet, and then immediately a bar right there waiting for you. So that's what they want. Is they want, I guess, that placement. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did that at every event. So yeah, cocktails definitely set the tone and the vibe for the whole party, to be honest.
And so what were people drinking? And did you have a choice? Because I do know that Franciacorta was the drink of the Emmys. So anytime you were holding bubbles in your hand, and I assume
Yeah.
you drank bubbles at the Emmys, right?
Yes, I did. Right after, it was the first thing. So after you leave the Emmys, you basically go out and you're like cattle. You're really just like you're just moving like cattle. You move out into the lobby, which is where the bar is. But no one really stops for a drink because you're heading straight into the governor's ball. And champagne is being handed out right when you walk in. And to be honest, I'm going to be really honest. I don't know if I knew what brand of champagne it was.
See, this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, I don't think I knew.
Well, I wanted to pull you into this podcast without giving you much prep because I
Okay.
wanted to know. So for us, I can't tell you how many press releases I have gotten pitching me and the podcast to tell the story of Franciacorta being part of the Emmys. And they want me to do it with the Franciacorta producer. They want me to do it
Okay.
with their board that represents the region. And I'm kind of like, screw that. I'd rather do it with somebody who was actually at the Emmys and who
Oh, I
was
love
nominated.
this.
And so that's why we reached out to you, because it's like,
Oh, that's so cool.
well, but it's just a better angle because now I
Well,
get
it's
to
just the
ask you,
truth.
do you remember this? Because you're
Yeah.
in the shit there. You're actually, your brain's in 52 places. You nominated
Yeah.
9 times. I can only imagine freaking out. You probably saw Morgan Freeman. It must have been amazing. So, no, but the amount of celebrities that were at this Emmys
Yeah. Oh, it's
was,
insane. I mean, it's
I
insane.
honestly couldn't believe it. It was
Yeah.
everybody. Movie stars, Kate Blanchett, everybody was there.
So this is interesting. Now you're making me kind of like be accountable because listen, I love champagne, but usually I'm not paying attention to which champagne is being served. I'm just excited I'm getting free shit. right? Like I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, a delicious glass of something, give it to me.
Mhm.
So when we were on the red carpet, because it was really, really hot downtown, they were handing out these sort of lemonade little mixers with no alcohol because you don't want to start serving alcohol to people like 3 hours prior to the show. I do remember that, but I don't remember a brand associated. But I do remember, like, here's the thing, I can picture where they were serving the champagne from because there are little corners and there are people pouring it and there are people walking around pouring it. But I cannot for the life of me remember the brand or the name.
See,
You could have
see,
told
this
me
is
it was anybody.
you keep saying champagne, and the crazy thing is that's a totally different drink than Franciacorta. I mean, not in style, and not honestly. I mean, a lot of the same grapes, and if you really want to get even more granular, a lot of producers that went there were trained in champagne. So it's not.
Okay.
It's
Got it.
but it's funny because that's why Franciacorta is doing this. They want people to know. They want you to say, "I want a glass of Franciacorta." They don't want you to say champagne.
Champagne. I think people use that so just flippantly and not, I mean, I know where champagne comes from and why it's called champagne, but I think we just
Sure.
at a celebration. But now, like, okay, let's talk through this.
It's like Kleenex. I mean, you
Right,
just call it
exactly.
Kleenex. I mean, it's
Exactly.
not.
I'm gonna be really honest here. I don't know what the color of the label was on the bottle. Was
Did
it
somebody take a photo of you holding a glass or anything? Because I'm
no?
assuming they probably had photographers going all over the place taking pictures.
I want to say it was either orange or blue.
Okay. Okay.
What's the label? What's the color of the label?
Well, I don't know which one they served. So they
Oh,
probably served a
okay.
number because Franciacorta is it's a whole region. So the region itself. So instead of like Moet Chandon being
Mhm.
like the sponsor where you'd be like, all right, I recognize that White Star label or whatever. In the form of this, it would have been whatever producers they brought from Franciacorta. So it's probably a number of different
Interesting.
bubbles that were probably on ice. I don't know because
Right. And the sad thing
honestly,
is I don't know either, but what I can tell you is that it tasted delicious.
yeah,
I
I bet
loved
it
how
did.
it tasted. It was super cold. It was super crisp. I loved it. I know I can only do one glass of champagne and then I kind of bounce over to my other cocktails. But the funny thing is, and I don't want like I want to be honest, right? I want to support the
Oh, I mean, I don't. There's no right or wrong answer here. I
right.
mean, I think for the listener, I want to immerse them in like what it's like to actually be there, but then also put a spin on. Did you know and what the hell were you drinking while
I
you were
had
doing this?
no clue I was drinking that, but I enjoyed it. But I do remember when I went into the governor's ball and you walk in, I mean, imagine these giant doors opening and there's huge, like lit up balls hanging from the ceiling. There's a 20-piece band playing. There are 4 or 5 bars. There's food areas to grab little munchies. There's places to sit, cozy couches, high top tables. All I could see was the bar was branded so perfectly and it was all Johnny Walker Blue. Everything.
Johnny
Every
Walker
cocktail,
Blue.
Johnny Walker Blue.
Wow. Okay.
And
Pretty
I
expensive stuff.
remember that because I remember thinking, wow, they're branding the crap out of this. They're just branding the crap out of this. And I don't even drink that. So, but I remember taking that in and having that in my mind of it's the Johnny Walker Blue bar. Here are the Johnny Walker Blue cocktails. And so I just remember thinking, wow, they did their job.
Man, I think whiskey is a tricky thing. It would get me in deep trouble if I was because like I haven't been nominated for an Emmy, but I've been to award shows and stuff, and the pressure of whether you win or not, coming off of that, is a real scary excuse to drink too much.
Which I did exactly that.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, I know that you probably feel pretty worn down. You look fantastic, but I know that you were telling me you're pretty tired from this whole weekend.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of gratitude and feelings and excitement and nervousness. The stakes feel incredibly high. And when you're waiting 9 times to have someone announce if your show, your little show you worked on was going to get to have a moment. And I think really it was less about winning. And for me, it was more about just acknowledging all the amazing people that worked on the show and made this story possible. So it was like a moment in the sun as opposed to like a trophy in the hand. But after that, I remember at one point I said to my husband, I was like, I need a drink. Like, I need a big drink. And he's like, well, I'm afraid if we go, we're going to miss one of the awards. So, like, we were trying to time it out during a commercial break, but I did have
Oh, so
a
you can get
double.
up and go have a drink during the ceremony?
Yes, you can.
Really?
Isn't that
Oh,
wild? And there's seat
it
fillers.
is.
So you're sitting there, and if there's a seat next to you that's empty because someone went to go get a drink or go to the bathroom, they bring in another human being that's all dressed up and set them next to you. So they're a seat filler. So when they cut to the audience, it never looks like there's an empty seat. But yeah, you can get up and go whenever you want, which I didn't really grasp until that night. Isn't that wild?
Wow, fascinating.
And everybody's
It's
going to the bar, by the way. That's where
yeah,
everybody's going.
it's got to be interesting. There's got to be a real different vibe out there, away. I mean, I'm going to steer very far from politics, but I can only imagine that the vibe in the room felt, what are people going to say? There was
Oh, for sure.
a very interesting nervousness that I could even feel watching the
Right.
Emmys. That
And nobody
and
really, I mean, when you look back at past awards shows, they go there. Like
yeah,
they
for
go
sure.
there. But I think in the climate we're in now, everybody's a little afraid to go there for comedy's sake, which is such a bummer because that's what makes
Yeah.
comedy so great is the going there and the risk that you take. And yeah, it was played slightly safe, but as soon as someone wins, their team wins, and there's 15 people on stage, all of those people go backstage. They get their photos taken, they do their interviews, they do their little press thing, and then they end up going kind of to the bar. So when you walk out to the bar to go to the bathroom, you see a bunch of people standing around with their trophies at hand, kind of coming down after their wins. So there's little pockets of what's going on at the Emmy Awards that you don't even ever get to see when you're watching it on television.
Honestly, I would rather watch the bar. If I had a camera, like what they need at the Emmys and any of these award shows is a
Great.
bar feed, and
That
where
is
it's just
such
like,
a great idea.
oh, I mean, can you imagine you're just out there and it's just like, Kate Blanchett and Harrison Ford are standing by the bar talking, and you're just like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I want. I want the random collection of people because not that I condone smoking cigarettes, but there used to be people would
Yeah.
go outside, have a cigarette, and there'd be this group of people, and you'd be out there, and you have nothing in common with anybody except you're all having a cigarette. And so the last bastion of that kind of thing is we're at the bar, like, and all these randos
Yes.
are there, and
I
so I'd
love
love to
that
hear what
idea.
they're.
That is
Yeah,
brilliant. And you see everyone walk down the red carpet and everybody's put together and everybody's like very excited and has their game face on. And then when you walk to the bar, the women usually have their heels off. There's like they're kind of draped over the bar, holding the Emmys, talking. It's a very different vibe. So I am going to promote. I am going to promote that and see if I can be the person out there doing the
yeah,
bar show at the Emmys next year, because that's really where I think the interesting things happen, where you're like, oh, that person from that show is hanging out with that person from that show. You're like, that mix doesn't match, but I love it at the bar. Oh my God,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, the cast of Severance hanging out with the cast of Adolescence would
Right.
be very odd, but I'm in.
I'm
So
so in.
run through, and not to call you out, like, but what did you drink throughout the night at the parties? What do you remember your actual, like, what you actually drank?
I do. And it was a real recipe for disaster now that I'm looking back. But I also believe that my adrenaline was just burning it off so quickly that I didn't really ever get hammered. I just got like a nice slight buzz. So I started with wait, what was the name of this stuff that that's a funk on
Fr-
chong clink long? What's it called?
Franciacorta. Morgan Freeman. All right.
I started with Morgan Freeman, had a glass
Yep.
of him.
Yep.
Then I moved on to my double tequila with soda and a splash of pineapple. Then after it was over, I think I had another glass because as you're walking, I want to say I had another glass of Francia. Say it again.
Franciacorta.
Corta. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's
I have no clue what the label looks like, but I'm in.
well, that's just
Franciacorta.
it's a region, so you're fine. Don't worry.
Aren't
But
you
it's
glad
like,
you had me on this show?
of course. Look. I try very hard with this show. Sometimes we have conversations that are very deep about wine, and we're talking about soil and some wine region or something like that. But it's nice to just shoot the shit with a friend every once in
It
a while. And to
is.
be
I
honest
love
with you,
this. Well, and I have to
and
tell you, I had all these cocktails and then I actually went to a vodka soda, but all I wanted was a giant, beautiful glass of red wine. That's what I wanted. So I went to the Disney party after. It was at this beautiful location called Vibiana downtown. I believe it's like a gutted The lobby of the hotel is a gutted church. So you walk in and there's thousands of candles lit. There's another band playing. There's food stations with Michelin chefs everywhere. I don't know who the alcohol sponsor was there either, to be honest. I have no idea. But I do know that when I walked in, I felt like something had elevated, right? It felt like a very cool place to be. And so I went straight to the bar, and all I wanted was a big giant glass of cab or a Pinot Noir because I knew I was going to eat some pizza, and I never got it. Like, I just kept talking and kept getting overwhelmed by people and taking pictures. But I do remember driving home at like 2 a.m. and thinking, I never got my big ass glass of red wine. So that was the one thing I felt like I was really craving in the night, and I never got it.
Well, hopefully tonight you get a chance to
Right.
to reclaim. Your husband owes you a glass of wine.
Damn it.
I mean, you've covered entertainment for a very long time.
Yeah.
You're, what are you, 32 years old now? So you covered entertainment for a while. Being in entertainment, I got to say, it must have been an odd situation to be nominated for an Emmy when you have covered the Emmys and covered red carpets and covered all celebrity, everything from gossip to just regular storylines. I mean, you've done it all. So I want you to step back into your former life before you were, multi-nominated executive producer of a show on Hulu. Now I want you to step back into when you were covering entertainment. Did anybody go too far? Can you spill any beans for anybody that you saw at the parties? Did Colin Farrell hit on you? What do you got? You got any gossip for us?
Okay. Few things happened that were amazing. I remember it when I was covering the Grammys. Beyonce photobombed me, came behind me and stuck out her tongue and did something.
I remember this.
We caught it on camera. I remember, I think it was Nelly signed my arm with a Sharpie, which is a really classy thing to ask somebody to do while you're covering the red carpet. Could you sign my arm with a Sharpie? That's where my St. Louis vibes
You asked
came out.
Nelly to sign your arm? I'm assuming you haven't washed your arm. I mean,
Exactly.
that's Nelly, for Christ's sake. Did anything happen at this Emmys? Is Nelly still alive?
He is. He went on a reunion tour, and I did see it.
Sadly, I missed that.
Yeah, a lot of people did. My favorite thing, when you're on the red carpet, you get the pregame, right? You get people talking and complimenting each other. My favorite thing to cover was the governor's ball because you got to see the nitty gritty. Who was coming in with who was on the dance floor dancing. And I got to say, when celebs get a couple drinks in them, like I think there's some video of Malin Ackerman and some other actor dancing on the dance floor. And it looks like—
I saw this. Malin Ackerman dancing with Brittany Snow. Is that right?
But no, it was a guy, but I think they were all dancing together, and there was definitely, because they're on the show together, and they're always making out. So the dancing, I think, was pretty tame. But getting to see celebs like with their shoes off and a couple drinks in and just dancing and acting like they're at a wedding reception together is one of my favorite things because they're having private moments. They're just all like protected and kind of together and celebrating on the dance floors. You get a very different vibe when you go into those parties. Very rarely would they let us go in with a camera crew to that party. But now I know what happens in those parties. And I'm like, it's probably better off that they didn't send the camera crews in because they just want to have a little bit of privacy and enjoy their night and not be constantly,
I don't think people realize how the caretaking and the management of especially when you're at a level of like that high of a celebrity.
Yeah.
You don't get to go to Walmart and accidentally say something wrong. You are managed, and it is
very much so.
Very much so. Well, I know how busy you are, and I know that you probably need to sleep for about 8 days.
Do you know what I'm really excited to do? I'm really excited to get some pizza and that giant glass of red wine. So if you had to suggest to me the perfect wine pairing to go with a margarita pizza with extra basil tonight, which red would I drink? And I'm not picky. I love a red. Can you give me a suggestion?
Well, I mean, for one, I'm going to go straight to Italian wine. Because you can get some of the most incredible, affordable Italian wine. I mean, here's what I would do. We're talking like you don't want to spend a ton of money. You just want a really great wine, right?
I mean, I would spend, because I feel like it's the congratulations for losing 9 Emmys glass of wine, I would spend a little money.
Okay. All right. So if we're going France, I would do a Chateauneuf de Pape. Southern Rhone, This is like a generally speaking, not always, but a bigger, delicious, wonderful, great red wine from southern France. It's very good with pizza. Some people listening may disagree with me on the basil thing, but I will say I've had plenty of Southern Rhone wines with pizza, and they are amazing. They're majestic and wonderful. Chateau Neuf de Pape, which means it's the Pope's wine, because there's a whole thing in Avignon where the Pope went there for a while, and I would go that direction. But easiest thing you can do is get a Barolo or a Barbaresco, or if you're really going to celebrate, get a Brunello di Montalcino. It's a Sangiovese grape, so Brunello di Montalcino, and it's a Sangiovese clone grape from Italy. And it is one of the greatest pizza wines on the planet. The only problem with it is, try to get one that's not like brand new, because it needs to open up. So
Okay.
if you can open it for, 45 minutes before you drink it. But if you're going to celebrate, do that. But if not, go get a nice, like a Chianti Classico. Get like a good Chianti. You can get a great bottle of Italian wine, even at like Trader Joe's or the grocery store, Gelson's, like any of that stuff. And you will not be disappointed. That's what I would do. In fact,
That's very helpful.
Now what I want is like a Brunello di Montalcino and pizza for lunch. That would
Right.
that would make me very happy.
You're welcome. I'll send it right over.
That's fantastic. All right. Well,
Dude, I have to tell you this, just you inviting me and me being able to kind of just chat with you, because I've just loved you and your wife and everything because your wife and I actually worked together as well. It's been this
Many
nice
years.
little trio of the three of us. And just to be a part of what you're doing is such a treat, because I love you guys and I think the world of you. And
Nikki,
if you
it's so
ever
good to
need
have you on.
someone to come along on these trips and just be a support, just be there for love and support, you just count me in.
Nikki, I am not gonna. I'm not gonna. Emmy nominated Nikki Boyer is not somebody I want to bother too much. But I will ask if we need you on a trip. But next time I see you, I owe you a glass of red wine. So
Deal.
Thank you
Jason.
enormously, and say it with me, Franciacorta.
Franciacorta.
There you go. Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Nikki.
Bye.
I want to thank everybody for listening, and thank you all, because I needed a nice, fun conversation right now. I think we all sort of need that at the moment. I want to thank John Adams, my producer. I want to thank Nikki Boyer, who took time out of her busy schedule to talk to us. And I want to thank you most of all for listening. It means so much. If you love this podcast, please, right when you're done listening, go to wherever you listen and leave a great review. It means the world to us. I always say this, and it really does. We see them all, and we really appreciate it. Also, I want to tell everybody, go to somtv.com. We have so many great things coming. We have a brand new film we're announcing pretty soon that we have been in production on for a very, very long time, that we filmed all over the world. SomTV.com will bring you hundreds of hours of original content. We have a lot of great stuff coming to the podcast. I cannot wait to tell you what episodes are coming. So stay tuned. Everybody drink something nice and be safe.